I'm a Namaste guys, Christian Long, life enhancement consultant, and his son Gabriel Long, reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii on a Saturday afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the weather. Hope you're enjoying the company you're with, even if you're by yourself. We are currently in traffic, patiently waiting to get into one of the lagoons and the Disney part or Orlando part of Oahu, as I like to call it. And I also wanted to report a near-death experience. Exciting. I was like, well, what's today going to be like? Is it going to be fruitful, or is it going to be fruitless, or is it going to be putting my life and the life of my son on the line? So there's a place in the west side of the island called Electric Beach, where they have an electric power plant on one side, and then you have the road, and then you have the shore, and then obviously the ocean from the shore. And they have this electricity that they have to cool down this water. So they have a pipe that goes from the electric power plant, goes under the road, and then goes out into the ocean, maybe about 150 feet from the shoreline. And I've heard about the full pipe for a long time, and I've always seen little pockets of other tinier pipes, but never the big pipe. And so we're like, well, let's go to Electric Beach. We'll find some fish. We'll find some turtles. I've been out here 3 times by myself, snorkeling, and had a great time. No issues, no problems, no nothing. And it's pretty calm, even though about 250 meters off the shoreline, there's a giant sea turtles. There's horses, maybe seahorses, and there's sharks. So my son and I were talking about going to this the past few days, and we finally got a chance to make it over here today. And so there's a point where you can enter the water. That's a little bit, how should I put this, not as calm as other points that you can enter the water into. But people like to do boogie boarding there. They like to get on little, rafts and kind of hang out in the area. Some of them just like the waves to hit them. But it's a pretty intense time. And we're moving towards the high tide for the day, so the waves are getting bigger and bigger as the day goes on. So we're like, okay, well, let's just enter the water with our snorkel gear from this launching point. But then we had to get through not 1, not 2, but 4 different giant waves, get over those waves to actually be out into the calm ocean, which there you're probably maybe 25 or 30 feet deep. It was kind of fun because as we finally made it over those 4 waves, partially exhausting ourselves, we saw some scuba divers, we saw different rainbow fish that he hasn't seen, I definitely haven't seen before, and there were a bunch of other people out there with scuba gear. There were people out there with their snorkel gear. Some people had the little diving floaties, so any jet ski or boat in the area knows not to go over that. We even saw a guy that was out there harpooning. I don't know what he was harpooning, if he was harpooning fish, which I think he's legally allowed to do, but he can't harpoon like people or turtles, right? And so we're going out there, and then we find this girl that says, oh, are you guys looking for the end of the pipe? And we're like, yeah. She goes, it's right about that point where there's a buoy, and then it's a little bit further aligned with this particular rock wall. So we're like, perfect. And it was only another maybe 50, let's see. No, maybe like another 25 meters, right? So like 75 feet, no big deal. So we go out there, and then we look down, and surprise, surprise, there's the pipe. And so all the hot water is getting shot out of the pipe, and the fish are doing little dances, and everyone's getting worked up. My son loves to see the turtles. He saw one yesterday, and so he's hoping to find another turtle. But here's the thing. When you're out in the big wide ocean, and you're not skilled at looking for landmarks, people, buoys, pipes, visually looking from the shoreline, how far are you from the shoreline, where's your orientation, you can get disorientated and kind of lose track of yourself in space, right? Because it's like the wild blue yonder out there, no pun intended. And so he's just going off and doing his own thing, and then we're noticing less and less people are around us, and we're not now 150 yards out. We're probably 200 yards out, And I'm maybe an intermediate swimmer at best. He's getting to be a better swimmer being out here in Hawaii. You know, being a Florida boy, you know, you'd expect super good swimmer, but, you know, he hasn't been around these kinds of waves and these kinds of currents. So he's chasing turtles and not really paying attention to what's happening, and I'm chasing him, and it's harder to communicate. Rule of thumb for everyone that does scuba diving, which I'm certified in scuba, and anyone that does snorkeling, keep your buddy within arm's length of you, whether it's scuba or snorkeling, because in case something happens, you know, you can't have your partner be 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 feet away from you, right? Because by then it's probably too late. So you have to be within arm's length of each other, or be able to reach that person within 2 seconds. That's kind of the rule of thumb within scuba diving. You should be able to reach your partner within 2 seconds if something goes wrong with their tank, their mouthpiece, the respirator, etc. So anyways, Stephen, I'm a namaste. Near-death experience definitely expand consciousness. Oh, my consciousness got expanded for sure. So we're out there, and then I'm going, well, we're the only ones out here now. There's no one on the other side away from the shoreline, and there's people way closer to the shoreline than we are. And I'm like, we need to start heading in. But I didn't take into account the current of the pipe that's pushing out the hot water, that's pushing us further and further and further away from the shoreline. And I'm like, shit, we got to either go to the left of that pipe or to the right of that pipe. Funny enough, I saw at the base of the pipe, off to the left, a giant sea turtle just laying there on his stomach, not doing anything. And I see my son way off in the distance, and I'm like, Gabriel, 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 yelling at him. I found the turtle. And then because he's not used to orientating himself in the water, I'm like, I'm over here. And I see him swimming away from the shore and away from me. I'm closer to the pipe and closer to the turtle, and I see him trying to swim to me, and he's literally swimming diagonally away from me. And I'm like, shit. Well, time to go get him. So then I'm going out to get him, and then I'm like realizing the pulsation of the current, and I'm thinking, okay, rule number one, you don't swim with the current or against the current. You swim perpendicular with the current. So you swim across the current until there is no current, and then you swim to where you have to go. So I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting. And then all of a sudden, my snorkel mouthpiece isn't working so well. So it's hard enough to breathe with, you know, to go against the current swimming with a snorkel. Now my snorkel gear is not working. And now I'm having to watch him, and I have better fins than he does, just because I just bought new fins to see what they were like, to try them on, and they're better than the old fins that I have that he has. So I see him in the water, and he's struggling to do proper form to get the fins going in the direction that he needs to go. And then I'm like having a hard time breathing. And then I go, we still have, I don't know, another maybe 250 meters to swim against the current. And I go, this is not going to be fun for the next 30 or so minutes. And so I don't know where his cardiovascular development is. I mean, he's 17, he's very healthy, but he doesn't like run for miles and swim for miles and do Ironmans and things like that. So I'm like, I don't know how well he's going to do. And I go, I don't know how well I'm going to do, because I don't swim out this far and, you know, take care of another person in the process. Ging, namaste. How are you, dear? Just sharing a near-death experience about an hour ago. Rip currents are real. Any body, water, even lakes, rivers, you need another one or more currents. Correct. Which, funny enough, a friend of mine who got scuba certified about a year ago, rule number one of scuba diving, you never go alone. Rule number two of scuba diving, you have to do at least 25 dives from a boat before you can start doing dives from the shore. He learned in a pool, he didn't learn in the ocean, and his very first dive in the ocean was by himself, and he did it from the shoreline, and a rip current sucked him out about a quarter of a mile out with his scuba gear on, and he almost drowned. So obviously he wasn't paying attention to rule number one and rule number two. Never go alone, and make sure you're doing it properly, like you have the right skill level. So do it with somebody and have the right skill level. So anyways, we're swimming and swimming and swimming, and we're like in 60 feet of water, right? Below us is 60 feet. So it's not like we can stand on coral to catch our breath for a minute. It's not like there's a buoy around. There's not even people around who could hear us saying anything. So we're out in the open ocean trying to overcome the resistance of the current. Our bodies are getting tired. My mask isn't working. His fins aren't working very well. And now, we're overcoming these really, really big waves that are not allowing us to go back into shore, right? So you have waves that prevent you from going offshore, and then you have certain waves that keep pulling you back out to shore, right? The current. So we're like, this is going to be quite the challenge. But I realized rule number one in a crisis situation, you never lose your cool, ever. No exceptions, because if you lose your cool, you stop thinking clearly, your emotional body takes over, and you're dead. You're dead in the water, you're dead in the fire, you're dead in the rock climbing situation, you're dead. You always, always, always have to keep your cool no matter what. And so I'm keeping my cool, and my son did an excellent job at keeping his cool. He wasn't very tired, as he said. He wasn't exhausted. But here's the thing. If you're swimming the wrong way and not fast enough, and you're like, I'm not tired, but you do that for 20 minutes straight and you don't move at all, guess what? Now you're tired, and you're either in the same spot you started with, or you're even further away from where you need to be. And then you are SOL. You're SOL at that point. Drowning, whatever. So I'm like, I need to find some way to get out of this current, and I need to find some focal point to put my attention on to let him know and to let myself know that we're making progress. So I was like, aha, I see a boat off in the distance. It couldn't come to us in time if anything happened, so it's like, there's no point. So we're looking, and no, because people are leaving. They just have that sign up most of the time. So I'm looking at the boat, and hallelujah, we're making it past the boat, foot by foot by foot. And then I see people finally, instead of being so far from us, the people are getting closer and closer and closer. They're still far from us. They couldn't help us if anything happened. But I'm like, okay, we're out of the rip current. We're getting closer and closer and closer to shore. And the whole time I'm invoking for my teacher, Grandmaster Cho Koksui. I'm like, Master, continue helping us, continue guiding us, continue giving us the inner strength, continue giving us the vitality to keep going, right? And so I'm feeling connected. I'm feeling the downpour of energy. I'm feeling like the waves are starting to turn in our favor from pushing us out to sea and pulling us into the shore. So we're like, okay, this is good. And then I'm realizing the next challenge that's coming upon us. So there's only a very small window that you can go from the shore into the ocean from that point. Outside of that, the waves are crashing into these very sharp walls of rock. So guess what? If we don't enter back into the shoreline properly, the wave is going to pick us up and smash us into the rocks and break our legs, break our bones, smash our faces, maybe even kill us, right? And I'm like yelling to my son, I'm like, focus on the center of the beach. Focus on the center of the beach. Stay off of the wall. Focus on the center of the beach. And I'm like grabbing him and pushing him, as best I can into the center line of the beach, of the shoreline, so he doesn't, fall. And then eventually we get close enough to the water, or we get close enough to the shoreline that he can partially stand and I can partially stand with our fins. It's not on coral. It's just on this like rock ledge. But then I'm like, the waves are still coming, and they're still going to knock us off of this rock ledge and then potentially shove us into the into the wall. So needless to say, it was about a 40-minute ordeal from when, not 40 minutes of the whole time, but a 40-minute ordeal realizing, holy moly, we are out to sea. We have about 250 meters that we have to now navigate in. We have a current against us. Our bodies are already tired, and there's nobody around. No boats, no kayaks, no paddle boards, no people. And so it was a real scary thing for sure. And I'm super proud of my son. He kept his cool. I'm proud of myself for keeping my cool, but I know better. As soon as you get squirrely, as soon as you get worked up, as soon as you get emotional, you stop thinking clearly, you start making the wrong decisions, you start depleting your mental, emotional, and physical reserves, and you're dead. As soon as you lose your cool, you're dead. So I've been in enough squirrely situations in my life to realize you can't lose your cool. Keep it together. And I'm like paddling on my back. I'm paddling with my arms. I'm looking at him because I'm having to monitor him because he's not used to orientating himself in the water. So instead of going with the shoreline, he's going in a different direction. And then his body's getting tired and he's getting flustered of he can't do it on his back and do his snorkel at the same time. His fins aren't working properly. There's all these like logistical things that were being a pain in the ass for the both of us. And we made it. And I'm super, super grateful to God. I'm grateful for our teacher. I'm grateful for our higher souls. I didn't think we were being braggadocious and squirrely and worked up. Kathy, I'm a namaste. I don't think we were off the rails of what we were doing. I don't think we were super far outside of our skill set because we've done snorkeling before. We've gone a decent distance out. But that was the deepest water, the roughest water. And then when we got hooked into that pipe, in the current of that pipe, it just made it very difficult for us to get back. So it was a good lesson, and it was I got my cardio in for the week. He might have got all of his snorkeling in for the day. When we finally got back to shore and we took off our gear, he says to me without skipping a beat, he goes, "Yeah, this is my least favorite beach." Of all the different beaches that we've been to, I'm like, this is our least favorite beach. It's like, or this is my least favorite beach, which is funny because I like this beach. Oddly enough, of all the times I've done snorkeling, this is one of my favorite beaches because it's deep, it's dark, so you can see like, how do I say dark? It's contrasting, so you can see the fish, you can see the colors. There's the pipe and different kind of pipes around the area. So it's a very dynamic snorkeling area. And I've never had any problems getting out off the shore into the water and then coming back. Not one problem. But today was an exception, you know. So it's really interesting to think about how you can just go into some mundane, Tanya, namaste. You can just go into some mundane activity like, oh, this is no big deal. You know, everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is out here. But then you're like, wait a minute. We could drown just like that. Easy, right? But I did get to see that big turtle, so that was pretty sweet.
It was pointless for me.
Yeah, he didn't get to see his big turtle. So anyways, guys, that's what I want to jump on and share with you. If this story inspires you to risk your life, I hope it doesn't, but if it inspires you to live an adventurous life, to live an exciting life, one of my favorite quotes by my teacher, Grandmaster Cho Koksui, is live an exciting life. Live an exciting life. It doesn't mean live a reckless life. It doesn't mean live a life not honoring your commitment, your responsibilities, and your obligations, but it's about you're not going to live a full, rich life if all you do is sit at home and stay on your computer or stay on the TV, right? So it's recommended to go mix it up with people, mix it up with society. So we've been in line here for about 20 minutes waiting to find parking, which it'll open up soon. We'll get a bite to eat here. For those of you who need healing, for those of you who need transformation, for those of you looking to, you could say, take your life to the next level, I definitely have experience doing that for myself and doing that for the past 18 plus years with thousands of people. So let me know how I can assist you by going to ChristianRLong.com. It's my name, it's my website, ChristianRLong.com, and schedule a healing. And in essence, you're scheduling a consultation with me of what it is that you need. I'll show you how pranic healing or hatha yoga techniques and methodology can help you get what you want faster than you ever thought possible. And then if we choose to work together, then we'll set something up moving forward. And there's some big meaty waves coming into the lagoon, so that's real nice. So lots of love to each and every one of you guys on this Saturday. Be well, be prosperous, be healthy, and live an exciting life. David, namaste. Good to see you. Hopefully you enjoy the stream. And we are over and out. This is Christian Long and Gabriel Long. I'm the Life Enhancement Consultant. What's your title?
It's the Gabenator.
The Gabenator. and have a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye.